Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Hello, my name is Rabbi Moshe Rudner, although lately I've been going by the name Yadidya, hence the name of this channel, and of the Substack, Yadidya, Y-A-D-I-D-Y-A. Now, a number of my friends here in Egypt, people that I'm actually interacting with on a regular basis, have been caring very, very strongly lately, not just lately, but I mean since my commitment, which I won't go into giving the details, but I was committed for a couple of years to try to bring about certain very good things, and you can see my previous videos to see what I'm referring to. A number of my friends here have been concerned about two things. First of all, about me myself, obviously, as a friend, they're concerned about my own income and life and all the rest, and secondly, about my mission, which they agree with and they wish would be able to be successful. So, first of all, with regards to the mission, that's the funniest part. They have advice. Like, for example, why not contact Sisi, the president of Egypt? Why not contact the Mossad? Just call someone you know in Israel and have them and tell them, like, hey, you can solve the problem. You can bring real brotherhood. The end of this unimaginably sickening level of bloodshed and increased danger for those whose blood has not yet been shed, you can really bring about brotherhood. They believe in me. They know me personally. And they say, why don't you contact, write to Netanyahu? Okay, that's the easiest to answer. I've done all this. You think I haven't tried to contact Sisi and the Israeli... There's a video here where I went to the Israeli embassy in Cairo. I didn't get in, but you can find that video here. I think it's called something like Rabbi's Dispatch from Cairo. Of course, I have written to all the various folk, and I said the Mossad already know about me. If they thought my ideas were something they were interested in, they would be calling me. I did, in fact, get a message on WhatsApp from someone or other from Israel saying, I really like what you're doing, yada, yada, yada. So I said, great, that's really great. Let's talk, Let's set a time because text communication is terrible. We can talk face to face. I said, I realize, of course, there's a possibility that you're actually Mossad, which is fine. I have absolutely nothing to hide from anybody. What I'm proposing is actually good for everybody. So please, it doesn't make any difference to me if you're Mossad or you're just please, here. And if you want to know what I'm up to, here's a couple of videos you might find interesting. Anyway, and that was the last I heard of him, and he blocked me. Before we arranged to speak at a certain time, and we didn't get to speak. Was it Mossad? Was it not Mossad? I don't know. But the point is that obviously, in this day and age, and of course because I make everything public, but even if I didn't, it's not hard to know what I'm trying to say, or what I am saying, and what I repeat over and over and over again. As for friends who care about me and want my channel to do well, they tell me, hey, listen, you created the modern Hasbara program. Well, not the modern one that's ongoing now, but around 1999. I traveled around the world. I was officially appointed by Rabbi Noach Weinberg of the Old City to represent Jews and Judaism to Jews and to non-Jews, specifically to anti-Semites. And I was very serious about it. Unfortunately, as with everything that's actually successful in our capitalistic dog-eat-dog world, what ended up happening is that there were various professionals who wanted slogans and stuff like that and didn't want me to go out speaking to people who are anti-Jewish or anti-Israel or anti-Zionist, and therefore I ended up just stepping out of the whole thing. Okay, and here you are in Egypt, the chief rabbi of Egypt, literally the chief rabbi of Egypt by default. I'm the only public Jew in the entire country of Egypt. I have business cards that I hand out to people, and I'm a rabbi as well, so I'm literally the chief rabbi of Egypt. And they say, listen, do a video on the death of Nasrallah, do a video on the attack on Netanyahu's home, the death of Sinwar. People watch that. And they're right, they know, but there must be millions of videos with similar titles that don't get watched. And as interesting as my stuff is, as they like what I have to say, as they find interesting, as you find interesting what I have to say, at the end of the day, the way the world runs these days, I'm afraid to say, is on money. It could run on people. In other words, if there was enough people seriously committed to getting me out there, to arranging for me to appear on podcasts, for sharing my videos everywhere, for sharing my Substacks, etc. If there were people who took it on as a program in ways that I cannot because I'm the speaker, then in theory that could work too. But money is the easier way. Money is much easier. You just pay YouTube and they show your fucking videos. Not to mention you need money to get anything done anywhere. So whatever the case, no matter what I would call it, if I would say, why didn't Netanyahu, what this means for the world, you know, you see online there are people who have these clickbaity titles about the Middle East that end up getting millions of views within days. And they're just garbage, right? And I think part of that is because they're not really telling you to do anything. They're not really getting involved in real life. They're just making their predictions, and when they're wrong, they don't acknowledge it, etc. Just pure, utter garbage. So at the end of the day, I don't think, no matter what I would call the name of this video, hell, maybe I'll call it Nasrallah Sinwar. Is Netanyahu next? You know, fine. But the thing is, first of all, it would piss off my regular viewers, who are the ones I care the most about, because they really understand what I'm trying to say. And of the viewers that it would pick up, the vast majority don't have the mental or emotional or spiritual space to have any interest or ability or belief that they can actually get involved in helping to make a better world. So they really wouldn't even get further than 30 seconds. Here's something that I thought of. I don't know if it'll get any play, but here's an idea that I have. There's a friend of mine whom I've mentioned a number of times, a rabbi in Jerusalem, who he and his wife is no longer alive, but I knew them well 20 years ago when she was. He and his wife exemplified Isaiah chapter 58. Isaiah chapter 58, which I have read here on video 4 times. 2 times only in the original Hebrew, and 2 times at length translating to English and explaining. They are really, whatever can be said, and much can be said, about me in terms of my, especially in my youth. There's a video here called Dear Noah, which if you want to know about, it's, you know, it wasn't intended to be public, but had to be made public eventually. You can hear about me. But whatever it is, even if in that situation, in those situations described there, I was the most committed person on earth to trying to bring goodness to all of God's creatures, to all of God's people, then nonetheless, in terms of the long term, in terms of the massive amount of effect, nobody alive more than he exemplifies Isaiah 58. I've spoken to him a number of times, and there's a question, right? How could someone so good, whose home is open to so many people, how does he view this whole war thing? How does he view this death? Needless to say, he views it absolutely horribly. Needless to say also, he lives in Israel, is on the Israel side, and his students are people who end up with his friends, end up in a lifelong coma or otherwise debilitated or, you know, very, right? To him, it's still October 7th. The rest of the world has moved on from October 7th, but the people in Israel, they have not. They're still thinking October 7th. Anyways, the point is that he is coming from a different situation. I, like I said, am currently in Egypt. I've lived in other countries. But he is a greater man than I, not necessarily in every way. I'm not promising you he has every answer. I certainly don't have every answer. Nonetheless, I'm going to send him this video asking if he would like to have a conversation that we can post. So, being as my few viewers, being as YouTube does not show my video to very many people, and therefore, even though I have nearly 23,000 subscribers, at the end of the day, they only give a possibility of seeing it to very few people. So if you're watching it, you should know you're one of the very, very few. You matter. You really, really, really matter. If my viewers are interested in this, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you'd like me to ask him. I won't promise that I will. I won't promise that I'll let the comment through if it's rude, you know. But I have addressed a number of times here my fellow Egyptians, my fellow Arabs here. And I have addressed many times my fellow Jews, my fellow Israelis as well. I've addressed my fellow Americans as well. Many, many, many different kinds of people are watching these videos. So, if you would like to know what the most, you know, practically kind-hearted person, caring, holy person in Israel thinks, then let us know in the comments. Leave a comment, please. And I'll ask if he wants to do it. My assumption, he hates fame, for the record. He's one of those people who really hates fame. But if it's worthwhile, if we can convince him that it's worthwhile to be on this video, then perhaps he'll do it. So please leave those comments indicating that it would be worthwhile to hear his view about all these things.